You might recall if you watched our other videos that we had to stop right here because I had to build up this wall a little bit to put the root cellar door that's going right here. So today I'm pouring some concrete. Where I'm standing is the actual pit that enters into the root cellar. Below me is the root cellar in the larder. It's underground. But we have a door that we're going to put on here, a Bilco basement door. But this backstop right here needs to be about 4 inches higher. So I'm going to essentially I've got some scrap lumber. I'm going to build a form, and we're going to be mixing some concrete and pouring it in here, and I'll reinforce it with a fence, an old cattle panel piece. And so I went around this morning, gathered all the tools. I have a lot of stuff, a respiration mask. I've got glasses. I've got the screws and all the scrap lumber I need to build the forms. But first off, I'm going to go through here and try to clean this off. As you can see, there's chunks of concrete on the edges here. I'm going to chisel that off, then blow this all off, then build the forms, and hopefully we'll get this done in just an hour or two. And if Danielle does her job right, she'll have a bunch of pretty plants in front of this, so nobody will see my horrible job. We'll see what it looks like at the end. Now that I've extended the wall behind me for the back of the frame, I now have to build a box ledge for the right side here. It's 55 inches wide and the gap is a little bit more than that. I also want to make sure that I have some room between here and here so that the door does not impede upon the wall. So we've got a lot of work here, but this box beam and that back wall is what I needed to get the door frame to fit in here. So it's looking good so far. Well, putting this door on is a lot more complicated than we thought. There were a couple issues that came up. One, I have an extension on the back, 12-inch extension for the Bilco door. So when I extended the wall in the back to fill the Bilco door, it does not fit the extension because it's another 3 inches higher than the regular door. So I measured it based on the regular door. I had to increase that wall by 3.5 inches. Second, the base of this, we had the Fox block tips and we were trying to figure out how to finish this off. Well, what we're going to do is I've put cement board on the outside and on the inside and a little form right here. And I'm going to go ahead and use mortar mix around here to give one consistent platform across this 13-inch span here. And then the door will go on top of that with a little bit of caulking. So a little bit more work to do to make sure this all fits, but it's going to be there for 20, 30 years, so I want to do it right. I have never worked with mortar. I've never worked with the fast set mortar, and I made a big mistake. I tried to pour half a bag into a 5-gallon bucket and mix it, and that didn't work. So I wasted half a bucket, and it's out there on the driveway. It hardened before I could mix it completely. So what I did was I called the girls. That was my backup. They came out. They would mix it in small batches and throw it on here, and I would trowel it in place, and that worked a lot better. It's not beautiful, but it's going to basically give me a nice surface that I can put that door on, put a bead of caulk down, drop that door on it, and I'm looking forward to getting that done. Well, Danielle caught me outside working, and what I'm trying to do is paint the door that's going over the cellar. So it's already primed. I'm using a Rust-Oleum paint, oil-based, to make sure it's good, and I really like these sprayers. It gives a nice smooth coat on it, and it's looking good so far. So back to work. Well, I got all these pieces painted and they've been drying for several days. I wanted to make sure that that paint was completely dry, and it recommended 48 hours. So I'm going to begin to assemble parts together, size it to the hole, and hopefully we can get this installed this afternoon. Turns out assembly is very quick. There's only 4 parts to the main door, 3 parts to the extension, and 10 total bolts. It turns out the holes on the extension do not line up with the header flange. I don't know if you can see that back there, but see, those holes don't line up. And it looks like the header flange is very asymmetric, whereas the other one has them right in the center. So I'm guessing that there's some sort of manufacturing defect. So I've taken pictures, sent it off to Bilco, and we'll see what they say. I called Bilco about those misaligned holes, and indeed that header flange was incorrect. They offered to send me a new header flange, or they said I could simply drill new holes, which is what I did, because the other holes are actually hidden behind that. So it shouldn't be a water intrusion issue, and I'm going to go ahead and seal those with some Rust-Oleum, so it should be fine. We've got this all put together now. Most of the effort of actually putting the frame on was making sure it was square, level, and plumb. It was very important for the actual fit of the doors to make sure they open and close correctly. Once we got that together, we started putting the springs on, we dropped the doors in place, and that all went very quickly. We elected to also purchase the weather stripping kit with this, which was, again, very easy to do, very straightforward. Just needed a scissors and read the directions carefully to know where to put everything. And in the end, it really sealed up things nicely, so insects, mice, and our problem here, frogs, would not get into that pit, because we actually had to clear about 13 frogs out of that pit when we started this project. So as you can see here, that seal is very good all the way around on the doors. Well, obviously that took a lot more than a day, but that was our fault because the prep work was not completed before we started. The actual assembly of the Bilco door was actually very quick, and the directions are wonderful. The operation of it is wonderful too. As you can see, it doesn't slam. The shock springs are very nice. And it's been in operation for about a week now. A lot of rains on it. Nothing is getting inside. I really like that. A lot of cat prints on the outside, but we kind of expected that where we live. Thanks again for watching this week. If you haven't subscribed, join us on our journey and leave us a comment. We'd like to see if this would come in handy at your house too. See you next time.